At the heart of ZANU-PF's turmoil is the battle over who will lead Zimbabwe after Mnangagwa's second term ends in 2028. Mnangagwa, nicknamed the Crocodile for his political cunning, has faced accusations of maneuvering to extend his presidency beyond constitutional limits, potentially to 2030. This 2030 agenda, endorsed by loyalists at the December 2024 ZANU-PF conference, requires amending Zimbabwe's constitution, which caps presidential terms at 2. Such a move has deepened divisions within the ruling party. Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, a former army general who orchestrated the 2017 coup that ousted Robert Gabriel Mugabe and installed Mnangagwa, is the leading contender to succeed him. However, tensions has grown as Mnangagwa allies, including businessman Kudakwasha Tagirei and spokesperson Christopher Mchangwa, appear to sideline Chiwenga. A public spot in April 2025 saw Mchangwa call Chiwenga illiterate and an electoral liability, while Chiwenga confronted Mnangagwa loyalist Owen Ngube, warning, "You are hunting for me. What will happen when the hunter becomes the hunted?" War veterans, historically ZANU-PF's backbone, have turned against Mnangagwa, amplifying the crisis. Led by Blessed Geza, a vocal war veteran and a former ZANU-PF Central Committee member known as Comrade Bombshell. They accuse Mnangagwa of nepotism, corruption and economic mismanagement. Geza, who supported Mnangagwa's 2017 rise, publicly apologized for backing him, alleging Mnangagwa escalated corruption and surrendered state power to his wife and children. In early 2025, Geza called for Mnangagwa's resignation and organized nationwide protests for March 31, 2025, describing them as an uprising. His fiery press conferences, often streamed on platforms like Heart and Soul Television, gained massive social media traction. Geza's expulsion from ZANU-PF in March 2025 alongside other Chiwenga-aligned figures and his subsequent hiding from police on charges of treason and inciting violence underscores the regime's intolerance for dissent. The government's response to Geza's protest calls has been swift and severe, reflecting fears of unrest. On March 31, 2025, Harare and other cities saw heavy police deployment. Riot officers were patrolling deserted streets. As businesses and schools closed, authorities arrested 95 people on charges of promoting public violence, including journalist Blessed Musyanga for covering Gaza statements. The crackdown, coupled with strict security, Minister Love Momatuke's vow to deal with protesters, highlights Mnangagwa's reliance on the police to maintain control. Despite the hype, the protests saw low turnout, attributed to public fear of violence and skepticism about political motives. This mirrors Zimbabwe's history of suppression, dissent, where security forces have consistently quashed opposition movements. Public sentiment is a mix of anger and resignation. Zimbabweans are furious over economic collapse, hyperinflation at 80%, informal employment 80%, and a US 21 billion debt burden. But many are wary of protesting due to past crackdowns. The Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce notes persistent hyperinflation has eroded trust in governance. Social media like X posts on April 21, 2025 reflects calls for Mnangagwa to step down and hand power to Chiwenga, citing economic hardships and social unrest. Yet analysts like Takura Jangaji argue Gaza's outbursts haven't galvanized crowds, suggesting public fatigue and distrust. The Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops' Conference, March 2025, later criticized the 2030 debate as a distraction from unemployment, corruption, and business closures, resonating with citizens' focus on survival over political games. Zimbabwe's economy is a casualty of this power struggle. Currency volatility, exacerbated by the devaluation of Zimbabwean bond notes, has driven hyperinflation, while corruption scandals such as gold smuggling and state capture cost billions annually. The Al Jazeera expose on gold mafias linked to Mnangagwa's allies has fueled public outrage. The succession crisis destabilizes investors' confidence, with businesses closing and informal jobs dominating. Political analyst Alexander Rosero notes that war veterans' grievances partly stem from exclusion from economic cakes like tenders and contracts, reflecting elite enrichment amid mass poverty. Mnangagwa's diplomatic trips, like his March 2025 visit to Belarus for trade deals, are seen as attempts to show up support amid domestic chaos, but they do little to address immediate economic woes. The military's potential role. The military is the ultimate arbiter in Zimbabwe power struggle. Given its history of decisive interventions, notably the 2017 coup, Chiwenga's military background and alliances like with the former army chief Anselm Sanyatwe, give him significant leverage. However, Mnangagwa has moved to weaken Chiwenga's influence by reshuffling security leadership. In March 2025, he sacked Sanyatwe, a Chiwenga ally, replacing him with loyalist Asha Walter Tafumane, and dismissed police and intelligence chiefs. These moves, seen as coup-proofing, signal Mnangagwa's fear of military disloyalty. Political analysts note that ZANU-PF and the military have been intertwined since independence, making the military's allegiance crucial. Exposed on April 2025 comment suggests the army stance could decide the outcome. One is quoted saying, "It just depends on whom the army is siding with." If the protests gain momentum, Chiwenga could leverage military support to challenge Mnangagwa, risking another coup. Zimbabwe stands on the edge of a volatile transformation as ZANU-PF power struggles between President Emmerson Mnangagwa and Vice President Constitutional Chiwenga deepens. War veterans led by Blessed Geza have ignited calls for Mnangagwa's resignation, but heavy police crackdowns have stifled protests, reflecting a nation caught between fear and frustration. Public sentiment simmers with anger over economic collapse, hyperinflation, unemployment and corruption, yet apathy and repression hinders mass action. The military, a historical kingmaker, looms large, with Chiwenga's influence and Mnangagwa's pages settings the stage for a potential coup as Harare streets echo with tension. The question remains, will Zimbabwe's future be shaped by democratic change, or will history repeat with another military intervention? The stakes could be higher for Zimbabwe and the region. What is next? Is something about to happen, or it is just sensational headlines? With that, I sign out. Dr. Clarence, TV7 Live.